Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We continue practicing our English skills through interesting story. Today's story is about the life of Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was one of the most influential figures in American history, known for his pivotal role in the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s. His life is a story of perseverance, courage, and an unwavering commitment to justice. Early life and education. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, into a middle-class African-American family. His father, Martin Luther King Sr., was a pastor, and his mother, Alberta Williams King, was a schoolteacher. Growing up in the South during the era of segregation, King experienced racial injustice from an early age. These experiences would later fuel his drive to fight for equality. King was an exceptional student, skipping 2 grades in high school and entering Morehouse College at the age of 15. After graduating in 1948, he attended Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, where he became acquainted with the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi and the concept of nonviolent resistance. He went on to earn a doctorate in systematic theology from Boston University in 1955. The birth of a leader. King's rise to national prominence began in 1955 with the Montgomery bus boycott. Rosa Parks, an African-American woman, was arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white man on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama. In response, the African-American community organized a boycott of the city's bus system, and King, then a 26-year-old pastor, was chosen to lead the effort. For over a year, King and the Montgomery Improvement Association spearheaded the boycott, enduring threats and even the bombing of King's home. Despite these challenges, the boycott was successful, and in 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. The Civil Rights Movement. After the success of the Montgomery bus boycott, King became the face of the Civil Rights Movement. He founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference (SCLC) in 1957, which aimed to harness the moral power of churches to fight segregation and injustice through nonviolent methods. King's philosophy of peaceful protest was tested in a series of campaigns throughout the South. He organized marches, sit-ins, and boycotts in cities like Birmingham, Alabama, and Selma, where the struggle for civil rights was met with violent resistance. Despite being arrested multiple times and facing constant threats, King remained committed to nonviolence. Despite being arrested multiple times and facing constant threats, King remained committed to nonviolence. One of his most famous moments came during the 1963 March on Washington, where over 250,000 people gathered in the nation's capital to demand civil and economic rights for African Americans. It was there that King delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech, in which he envisioned a future where people would be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Nobel Peace Prize and continued advocacy. In 1964, at the age of 35, King became the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. That same year, his efforts contributed to the passage of the Civil Rights Act, a landmark law that prohibited racial discrimination in public places and banned employment discrimination. Despite these victories, King continued to face opposition. He turned his attention to broader issues such as poverty and the Vietnam War, expanding his vision of justice beyond racial equality to include economic and global concerns. His Poor People's Campaign sought to address the economic inequalities faced by people of all races. Assassination and Legacy. On April 4, 1968, while in Memphis, Tennessee, to support striking sanitation workers, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated by James Earl Ray. His death was a tragic loss to the nation, but his legacy lives on. King's influence extended far beyond the United States. His advocacy for nonviolent resistance inspired movements for social justice worldwide. Today, his birthday is celebrated as a national holiday in the United States, and his words continue to resonate in the fight for civil rights and equality. Through his courage, determination, and dedication to peaceful protest, Martin Luther King Jr. changed the course of history. His vision of a just and equitable society remains a guiding light for those who continue the struggle for freedom and justice.